2 stycken. Jag tror att de går vidare. Rakt om för att gå vidare.
Så det går jättelångsamt neråt.
Captain America is one of Marvel's most popular superheroes. He's become more popular than ever since Chris Evans started playing the character in the Marvel Cinematic Universe in 2011. By now, pretty much everyone knows the basics of the character. Back when he was a World War II soldier who had his physical attributes enhanced to the peak of human potential using experimental serum. But there's actually a lot more than that to the man otherwise known as Steve Rogers. In this video, we'll tell you why Captain America is far more powerful than you ever thought he was. Before we get into the meat of this video, we're going to touch upon a theory which, if it's true, will make you look at Captain America in a whole new light. It relates to that awesome moment in 2018's Avengers Infinity War when Thanos arrived on Earth to take the Mind Stone. And simply waited.
Some of these videos are made before the movie came out, so you know.
But he met some resistance in the form of the courageous Steve Rogers. As the Mad Titan moved his left hand towards Rogers, the hero was able to stop it using both of his hands. If you look at the Mad Titan's facial expression, he's obviously very shocked by the initial block. As though he's thinking, how the heck is this little human able to do this? But what exactly is it that Rogers is doing? You see, this theory suggests he's not exactly physically blocking Thanos' hand. We've already seen the prune-shinned villain totally manhandling the Hulk, and Rogers is definitely not stronger than the Green Goliath. So, could it be that, given that the Infinity Stones work by responding to the will of the user, Rogers, who was in contact with the Gauntlet at that moment, was kind of outwilling Thanos? Could it really be the case that, while none of the Infinity Stones were actively being used, they were instinctively responding to both Thanos and Rogers' wills respectively, with Rogers' will being stronger? In the comic books, Steve Rogers has incredible willpower, and if he has that level of willpower in the MCU, which the aforementioned scene may suggest he does, that certainly makes him even tougher than we realize. But that's a speculative notion, and now we're moving on to the harder facts, by discussing some of the superpowers and abilities Captain America possesses that you might not know about. Obviously, the Super Soldier Serum gives Cap incredible speed, strength, and enhanced durability. But did you also know the other physical benefits it grants him? For one, it renders him practically immune to fatigue. Granted, in scenarios involving extreme physical exertion, he will momentarily tire, but ultimately he can keep going and going when others would collapse with exhaustion. But he doesn't get by in a fight just by being a remarkable physical specimen. Oh no. Cap is also very skilled. While it's hard to tell exactly what styles of fighting MCU Cap is an expert in, he's definitely a capable fighter. And if he's anything like his comic book counterpart, he'll be adept in many forms of combat. Comic book Cap is skilled in acrobatics, marine combat, boxing, judo, jiu-jitsu, muay thai, and just about everything else, having spent countless hours honing his fighting skills. Now, all that being said, Captain America is neither durable enough to stop a tank or quick enough to avoid a bullet. But never fear, the Super Soldier's uniform is completely bulletproof, covering him in a lightweight protective shell that most of his enemies don't even know about. It's also completely fire resistant. But rather conveniently, in the event that Captain America does ever get injured, he heals quickly thanks to his super healing powers. For example, the Super Soldier is able to heal from broken bones in a single day, and recover from bullet or knife wounds in just hours. If indeed he takes a hit while not wearing his aforementioned armor. He's come back from his fair share of bad injuries very quickly. He once came back from a broken neck after just a week. His healing powers also mean that he's immune to deadly poisons and toxins, as well as all earthly diseases. Although we'd like to see him tested by drinking Asgardian booze that was aged for 1,000 years in the barrels built from the wreck of Groot's fleet. He's often referred to as a... But that's not just because he was thawed out decades after he ended up in ice during the war. It also makes sense because his aging is practically halted. If you think no normal individual could survive being frozen for 70 years, you'd be correct. But Captain America is no normal individual. Now, we've already mentioned that Cap is known for having incredible willpower, and in comics, that often enables characters to resist the effects of mind-controlling or mind-altering powers. Dr. Doom, for example, has such incredible levels of willpower that he can outright resist attempts from telepaths to get into his head. While Captain America isn't that strong-willed, and we've already seen him manipulated by Scarlet Witch in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, he does have resistance to some mind-based shenanigans, including hypnosis. This somewhat obscure resistance ability comes from his astounding knack of never losing focus, no matter what, which may also be a contributing factor as to why no gases or other chemicals can affect him either. One of the most surprising superpowers Cap has, which often goes forgotten even by his biggest fans, is his super intelligence. Yeah, that's right, Captain America is actually something of a genius.
It seems to run some form of electricity.
Along with his body, his mind was massively enhanced by the super soldier serum. Cap is able to complete lightning-fast calculations and make life-saving decisions in a fraction of a second. Perhaps if Cap wasn't so brave, strong, fast, and durable, everyone will be talking about his ability to analyze threats and quickly react to them in real time. In addition to all of that, Captain America also has a perfect memory. One of the more surprising superpowers Cap has, one that even uber Cap nerds aren't always aware of, is actually super eyesight. It allows him to see further than the average human, process incoming visual stimuli incredibly quickly, and pick out information that may be useful to him and his fellow heroes. Now, for this next amazing ability, we need to warn you in advance that it will involve a spoiler for Avengers Endgame. So, if you haven't seen that movie yet, stop the video now! We're serious! Spoilers ahead!
He's pretty good.
Lever det på
Right?
Okay, if you're still here, we'll assume you've either seen Endgame or you're happy to hear about it.
Skulle med det till,
Here
då har
goes.
de ju, du tar ju bara
Another
koll i
incredible
skott i
ability that
huvudet
Cap
ändå.
possesses is the ability to wield Thor's hammer Mjolnir, a weapon any given individual needs to be deemed worthy of wielding. In 2015's Avengers Age of Ultron, we saw Chris Evans' version of the character slightly budge the powerful weapon. But in Endgame, he finally wields it for real, and it's something he's done on several occasions in the comic books. Cap is worthy because he's a true hero, whose intentions are good, who is pure of heart, incredibly brave, and who would willingly lay his life on the line to save others. Next up, we come to a skill Captain America has that, on the face of it, doesn't seem to be of use in fight, but it's worth noting nonetheless. And it's the fact that Cap is actually really good at art. It's one of the most overlooked aspects of the character. Seriously, he's incredibly talented, and had he not become Captain America, he would actually have gone to art school. As a matter of fact, one of the more impressive trivia tidbits in Marvel history is that Steve Rogers actually created the Captain America comic book. That's about as meta as it gets. While it obviously isn't a superpower, having such a high level of creativity can only be good for a superhero, as it could contribute to Cap coming up with innovative ways to win battles. Another point worth noting, or maybe not, is that Captain America has his own vehicle. It's not exactly the kind of speed ride you see Batman driving around in, though, so put it that way.
Car, like, chicks off the car.
It's a custom-built Chevrolet van, which is apparently designed to look intentionally nondescript from the outside, so it doesn't arouse any suspicion when it's being driven around in public. It was designed by Wakandans, the same guys who made the Avengers Quinjets in the comic books. It does have some additional features, such as a launchable mount for its famous motorcycle, and believe it or not, a cock for saving him. Kind of neat, we suppose. To end this video, let's talk about what Avengers Endgame writers Christopher Marcus and Stephen McFeely believe is Captain America's true superpower. In a recent interview with the pair, they explained to Screen Rant exactly what they believe his true power is. And the answer goes a long way toward understanding fans' unwavering faith in the iconic star-spangled superhero. Marcus said, "You know, the struggle of being an upstanding person in a fundamentally compromised society. Do you choose to isolate yourself and stand by your values, or do you compromise to fit into current society? And even in those runs, that's his superpower." While McFeely continued by saying he changes the world around him usually, he doesn't usually change. That description of Cap's true power really gets to the heart of the matter. And it does it in a manner that harkens back to the reasons behind Abraham Erskine's decision to choose Steve Rogers as the man to be given the super soldier serum in the first place. It suggests that Rogers was always a hero, and he was also always a man who could be relied on to do what was right. It's just that prior to being granted the serum, he simply wasn't naturally physically equipped to be a superhero.
Somebody get that kid a sandwich.
But the serum gave Steve the ability to do what he had always wanted to do anyway, that being the right thing. Rogers gave Erskine his word that he wouldn't change who he fundamentally was after he became physically powerful, and he truly never has. He remains kind-hearted and principled, just like he always was. He's never been willing to compromise his beliefs in order to fit in, and he would never take the easy way out if he believed it was fundamentally wrong to do so. A prime example of which came when he refused to abide by the Sokovia Accords in Captain America Civil War. With that in mind, Rogers not only doesn't change, he also helps to change society for the better, and that quite possibly is his greatest ability. And not as amazing strength, speed, or so forth. Captain America is currently starring in the awesome Avengers Endgame. And if you haven't seen it yet, you should definitely do so as soon as possible.
Oh, mother.
Did you know all of this cool information about Captain America? Are you in agreement that he's more powerful than you initially realized?
Aha,
Let
varför
us know
gick
your
vi
thoughts in
vilken?
the comment section below. And don't forget
Yeah,
to
I
like,
don't know how it
video
happened.
and
Tror det
subscribe
var
to
så
stay
långsamt.
for more great content just like this. See you next time.
Ska bara hitta healingsblad. Some proper healing.
Avengers Endgame, the culmination of 22 movies and 11 years of Marvel Cinematic Universe action
Vilken
has
parkering.
finally hit theaters. And boy does it deliver. It's 3 hours of pure, unadulterated, and truly epic comic book action. And Marvel Studios really did pack a lot into those 3 hours. So much was packed into it, in fact, that it was quite easy to miss a lot of those Easter eggs, callbacks, nods, and minor inclusions that the MCU is known for. But never fear, we've got your back. In this video, we'll take you through 30 things you might have missed in Avengers Endgame. And be aware, this one is definitely going to contain Endgame spoilers.
Ta-da!
Let's start with something that wasn't in Avengers Endgame. That might seem strange, but it's worth pointing out. Because for months in the build-up to the movie, fans were assuming that Tony Stark's primarily augmented retro framing
Så nu jag får jag hörde hur det var ett team som landade i
as it was seen written on a prop in a photograph in the movie.
Det står en bil här på 320. Kanske spånar sig, no? Står på vägen.
Likes to trick us. You've probably forgotten that it was strongly expected to appear in the movie. Avengers Endgame opened with the heartbreaking scene of Clint Barton's whole family turning to dust before his eyes on the Barton family's remote farm. Clint's wife is famously played by ER's Scooby-Doo star Linda Carter.
Men ni slänger något där.
Plus is known about the child actors
Nej,
who
då
portray the couple's
drar jag bort det från det.
It may come as
Så
a
det är ju
surprise to you,
projekten med.
therefore, to learn that Ava Russo, daughter of Endgame director Joe Russo, played Clint's daughter, Lila Barton. She was the girl Clint was trained to use a bow and arrow in that opening scene.
Terräng.
When we were first reintroduced to Thanos at the start of Avengers Endgame, he was on the same farm we saw him on at the end of Avengers Infinity War, which Nebula confirmed was a place called
kommer
the
så
Garden.
från
With
bilhållet.
mighty golden armor acting as a scarecrow to protect his crops, the Mad Titan was wearing a humble rag, which appears to be a nod to a symbol building at the end of the Infinity Gauntlet comic book arc. Although not identical to what Thanos was wearing in the comics, it was certainly similar enough to have quite obviously been influenced by it.
Gick inte ni... Okej.
When the surviving Avengers confronted Thanos the Garden, before Thor cut his head off, he also
Vilka?
cut his
De har
hand
ensam.
off. In case you've forgotten, this is actually a recurring theme
What?
in the MCU, with the purpose of it being a nod to Star Wars.
Okej.
The likes of Bucky Barnes, Aldrich Killian, Ulysses Claw, and Groot have all lost appendages in the franchise. And in Avengers Endgame, Thanos continued that theme. In fact,
Men
Bruce
han hade
Banner
ingen
also
bra sak.
lost the use of his arm when he reversed the snap, so that also continues the theme to a lesser extent.
Alltså han
When Steve Rogers was running a support group for Survivors of the Destination, director Joe Russo's cameo as the MCU's first openly gay man, talking about his first date in 5 years, was an easy one to spot. But there was a less obvious cameo in that same scene, in the form of Jim Starlin, who was playing another participant in the group who asked Russo's character about his date. Starlin is a comic book writer and artist, who happens to be responsible for the creation of Thanos, as well as characters like Drax the Destroyer, Gamora, and Shang-Chi. Fans have been speculating about how Paul Rudd Scott Lang would escape the quantum realm, since he got stuck in there at the end of last year's Ant-Man and the Wasp, and all was revealed in Avengers Endgame. The quantum tunnel van that took him to the quantum realm in the first place had been sent to a storage facility in San Francisco, where 5 years later, a rat activated the tunnel like all doors and buttons. The number of the specific lock of it was stored in was 616, a reference to the designated name of the main universe in Marvel's comic books. Speaking of that storage facility in San Francisco, the security guard who let Scott Lang out of there was a well-known star in disguise, none other than Ken Jeong. His community co-star, Yvette Nicole Brown, also appeared in Avengers Endgame, but her cameo was more easily identifiable. She was in the elevator with Steve Rogers and Tony Stark back in the 1970s. Rather interestingly, Jeong's character was reading a collection of J.G. Ballard's short stories called Terminal Beach. One of the stories within that volume happened to be a little number called Endgame, which is obviously no coincidence. In this year's Captain Marvel movie, and indeed the start of Avengers Endgame, Brie Larson's Carol Danvers has shoulder-length hair. When Endgame jumps forward 5 years, and we see Danvers talking to Natasha Romanoff from space via some kind of holographic communication device, she's clearly had a haircut, which she's still rocking when she makes her grand entrance to the movie's epic final battle. If you're not familiar with the comic books, you might be interested to know that it's actually a signature look of the modern Captain Marvel from the source material. In the scene when Natasha was talking to the hologram of Carol Danvers, she was also talking to Rocket, Rhodey, Nebula, and Okoye, all of whom were reporting from their missions. Okoye notably mentioned the fact that there had been huge seismic activity on the ocean floor, but her plan of action to deal with it was to do nothing, because that wasn't their job. Could this have been a hint to the existence of Namor? We've already seen an Atlantis Easter egg in 2010's Iron Man 2. Maybe Okoye didn't feel the need to deal with ocean issues because she knew Namor would. One of the coolest moments in Avengers Endgame came when Tony Stark arrived at the Avengers compound with the news that he figured out time travel. He pulled up in his sports car and was greeted by Steve Rogers, who Tony proceeded to surprise by returning the iconic vibranium shield to him, which he'd taken in 2016's Captain America Civil War. As he hands the shield over, a familiar piece of music played in the background, and that was the theme music from Captain America the First Avenger, Cap's first solo outing in the MCU from back in 2011.
Vad precis blev i huvudet. Jesus.
Avengers Endgame revealed that surviving Asgardians had set up a new home
And it was filled.
Norway called New Asgard. Asgard had a history in the
En åkte ner, ja.
MCU. There was the site of the frost
Den där kryper.
against Odin's armies, as well as the town where the Red Skull found the Tesseract. In the comics, Asgard has floated above Oklahoma, and in an Ultimate Marvel Comics universe, New Asgard was the name of a version of Asgard that merged with New York City. So this wasn't a new idea. In fact, it could lead to an adaptation of the epic siege story arc of the MCU.
Nu dog alla. Kommer ni...
Tony Stark mentioned that Ben and Jerry's had named a flavor of ice cream after him, which Dr. Strange said was rather chalky, walking along to reveal the
Det är andra gänget som får den. Det är andra gänget, andra gänget.
There was a shot of Bruce Banner diving into a massive tub of the dessert, showing that, like Wong, he too is a fan of the Hulk-inspired creation. When Steve Rogers, Tony Stark, Bruce Banner, and Scott Lang traveled back to 2012's Battle of New York, we saw the aftermath of that iconic battle. Rogers entered an elevator with a Hydra strike team in it, including Brock Rumlow and Jack Rowlands. But rather than a repeat of the awesome elevator fight from 2014's Captain America the Winter Soldier, he avoided conflict by whispering Hail Hydra into Jasper Sitwell's ear, pretending to be a Hydra agent. This was a fun nod to the Secret Empire comic book storyline, when Rogers uttered the same phrase to reveal he'd been a Hydra agent all along. While they were in New York, the heroes altered the events that occurred there, enabling Loki to escape with the Tesseract. What you might not realize is that there could be repercussions to that in the main MCU. Tony Stark said time travel rules aren't like Back to the Future, so altering the past won't change the main timeline. Yet when Steve Rogers went back in time, he aged within the main timeline. Essentially,
Var det huset där de vann sista förra gången vi hörde igår? Var det? On marker, no? Det är ju Faith att de kommer inte vinna den här gången. Därför går det inte.
It occurred in the 70s time jump, with Lee playing a de-aged hippie version of himself, driving past the military base with a female friend, proclaiming to them that they should make love, not war. On the back of his car was a bumper sticker that read, "Nuff said," his second most famous catchphrase after Excelsior. The reason for that 70s time jump was so Tony Stark and Steve Rogers could obtain both the Tesseract and some Pym particles in one fell swoop. But given that Rogers would have been recognized at the place called the birthplace of Captain America, he had to wear a disguise. The disguise included a shirt with the word Roscoe on it, which in the comic books was the name of the man who replaced Rogers as Captain America when the hero was going by the name Nomad. While he was at the military base in the 70s, Steve Rogers distracted a young Hank Pym with a prank phone call that made him leave his laboratory in a rush. That allowed Rogers to sneak in and steal a few vials of Pym particles, which would allow him and Tony Stark to return to the present. When the camera panned around inside the lab, just prior to him rushing out, we were treated to the sight of an early prototype Ant-Man helmet, which just so happened to be the classic Silver Age Ant-Man helmet from the comic books.
Där de i haciendan.
Tony
Där
Stark got to chat with his father about fatherhood.
Det är ett gäng där. Så du har scenen här framför 220 sydväst också.
Made a very notable cameo. It was James Darcy playing Jarvis, Howard's loyal household butler, reprising his role in the Agent Carter television series. What was particularly notable about this cameo was that in making it, Darcy became the first ever actor whose MCU debut was on the small screen to appear in an MCU movie. The epic final battle of Avengers Endgame began with Steve Rogers, Tony Stark, and Thor confronting Thanos outside the Avengers HQ. And it didn't start too well for the trio. Thanos got the upper hand of the heroes, even breaking Cap's shield in exactly the same way it was broken in Tony Stark's vision in 2015's Avengers Age of Ultron. Thanos also broke the shield in a similar fashion in the Infinity Gauntlet comic book arc, when Rogers stood against him alone.
Ja, har du utkik om det är någon vid 2.15 där? Ska jag annars gå ut? Före den kommer.
Alla kommer åka bil snart. De här killarna kommer så mycket. Nej, de är inte.
De vill.
Kolla utåt.
Ska vi sitta kvar då framåt?
Vad vi än säger så blir det fel. Så silent running.
Jag spanar lite. Jag tänkte att jag har fortfarande chans att jag kan vända mig om och säga att jag aldrig gick hit. Jag går och kollar och ser ingenting. Bortom husen skott.
Såg en flash.
That looks like a burning car.
Kul att sitta ute utomhus och gömma sig. Det är bättre än vinlåst. Jag är i sikten.
Ja, 4 gånger.
Jag tänkte så 6 gånger.
Visst gör man det? The Folk 105 motorcykel och buggy. Motorcykeln åker mot den här killens farm. Nej, nu vänder de. De blir lite skjutna. De kommer hitåt, tror jag. Längs vägen. Var beredda. Försöka skrämma bort dem här. De vänder runt. Okej, det är en dropp. En dropp kommer där borta. Right. Alla kör ut. Jag var skott. Ja. Folk springer 105.
Det var inte vi, va?
Jag tror inte det. Ska folk bakom oss på bergen? Se till när jag
Bakom,
på en.
nära. Men nära. Höbalarna precis norr om oss.
Jag är höbanan bort.
De närmaste höbalarna vid vägen. Kastar en granat.
Jag gick inte fram.
Han är kvar där.
Det är 2. Jag blev beskjuten. Från andra sidan. Det här söta lilla fältet vi måste över.
Jag har en bil här.
In the river
Nu rör de sig.
Ja,
De springer bakåt vet på fältet.
träff. Bakom.
They rest during the day when it's hot. Like the
Träff.
They come ashore at night.
Jag har ingen skog.
Now is the time for
Röda
everyone
traktorn
to
är.
build up
Track.
their strength. Change is on its way.
Vänsterkant, mitten.
Träffar han.
Emerald days are about to end.
Jag avrättar kompisen. Han är fortfarande kvar i traktorn. Men vi kan ta bilen om vi tar ut den killen.
Okej.
Han helar nu. Jag ligger smök på honom så kan inte han se oss.
Ligger det vänster.
Vem kastar den där?
Jag kastar det. Det var borta. Den här bilen är fucked tydligen. Ett däck är borta. Alright. Kan köra tur eller så springer. Ja,
Han gick ner.
Okej.
Spring. Vi kommer bli submission.
One spot is ideal. If you
Ni hör den där? Ja.
På mig den sköt.
hot and stressed, the hippos arrive. Soon,
Ja.
But this pool already has an owner, a dominant hippo, a beach master. The newcomers slip in as quietly as they can.
Vart var han?
Ridgen
The
rakt
leading
sydväst.
bull attacks anything he sees.
That's right.
Ska inte se honom. Right.
De har ganska bra läge där uppe.
11 kvar.
Pikar den.
Hippos are very powerful.
De vet att jag sitter vid traktorn och försöker nå mig.
Yet they kill many more
De springer.
than lions.
Börjar springa också.
Even vegetarian, kill people more.
In the bushes along the bank. One of the lionesses has two small
How was
cubs,
that?
a male and female.
What?
They will eat so.
Hippo!
De har så bra läge.
She moves hiding
They're
spots
vegetarian.
every 2 days.
But they kill hippo more than the lion kill.
Even the baboons
Yeah,
will
yeah.
keep them away.
Jag ser det där bron. De skjuter från alla håll. Ser dem?
Rynner många, okej.
She left the
Det här
pride to give
är
birth
gränsen.
and has stayed away ever since. The cubs couldn't keep up with the
Okej,
pride,
får
but are
krypa
also
in
very
där.
vulnerable in
Så
the
vi kan klara en kant.
She senses the baboons' alarm calls have betrayed her.
Det här är så jävla dåligt läge.
Jag tror vi precis kan förstå oss ligga på gränsen kanske. Jag tror. Nu är jag inne här. Nu är jag inne.
She could probably win a fight here. She knows the lay of the land.
Jag vet.
Spring inte till oss, men ducka gärna
The
innan hon kan.
spectators make a swift
Närmsta
exit.
kant.
The two adversaries seem to ignore each other, but it's a bluff. They're working out the odds. The cubs
8 kvar.
can easily
5 kvar. 200. 200. Jag var i fall 2 av dem, eller en av dem där framme.
The hippos win the first
Nu då?
round. One hit
I did straight. De är där långt bort. Kan dra en.
The cubs are only
Framför mer.
to travel with, and she takes them down to the
Granat.
This
En
is the
kvar, en
heart
kvar.
of the battle.
Jag måste hela. Jag har bara...
Concentrate.
Jesus Christ.
And it's home to
Ropa ut nu. Håll koll på honom vart han kommer.
Yes, han är spotted.
Spotter.
Vid busken där.
Kom ihåg att vi ser inte din markör så bra alls.
The calves in the water, the cubs on the beach, have so much to learn.
Du kan
Already he has an instinct
lägga rök på.
to hunt, and a fear of grunting hippos. The lions and the cubs will find a new
Bara att han
hiding place
inte
to
gör
live.
en... Där ja.
Där såg
The
jag.
hippo lions, on the other hand,
Yes.
prefer the protection of the herd.
Det går.
Nice.
Han fick Jag kan inte sätta ut markören. Du.
Protects them from outside.
Jo, det är så Leo som...
They might